Hey guys, here is the recap of my California State Championships for Powerlifting America 2025. So I have this opener right here of a 628-pound squat. All was pretty well. I did unrack it a little bit aggressively. I think I actually gave them too high of a rack height. So this actually slid up into being a little bit more of a high bar, but it didn't matter with that weight. Next I moved up to the planned second, which was 672 pounds. And here's where things got a little bit funny, as you'll see. So this is a weight I've hit many times in training, and I still hit it here, but I had a pretty hard stop because my hips came completely out. So that was a real nice good morning PR, is what it looked like. So I really, coming into this meet, didn't want to miss a third attempt squat because I haven't gone 3 for 3 on squats in about 2, almost 3 years. So I went up about 5 kilos here for 310 kilos or 683 pounds. Got really hyped up for this one. I knew that I had it. I knew it was going to be a fight though based on that second. For whatever reason, I just couldn't feel my legs under me very well, so I knew this was going to be a grind. But here it is. And look at that depth. Look at that fight right there. Heaviest squat of the session for 93 kilo lifters. This was a Primetime event also, so I had a good battle with my other fellow 93s, and this was a huge milestone for me to not only get a meet PR but also to go for 3 for 3. Bench opener went pretty smooth, but even though it moved quick, I could tell that bench was not on point this day, which I was really confident coming into the meet, actually my most confident lift, but things started to go wrong right about here. Press came out funny, had trouble setting my arch, and I actually missed 418 pounds. So right here, this lift had a lot of stakes in it in terms of the battle for the meet for number 193. And I needed to get this because if my opponent got this, who was benching 452 and I missed, then it opened the door wide up even though I had a huge lead on squat. So I just told myself I was going to get this no matter what, and I was prepared to fight, and I ended up getting this 418 pounds. Got a little bit generous of a start command, which I'm happy for, and I actually almost dumped it forward on myself at the end there, but I ended up getting the lift 2-1, which kept me in the competition. And here's my debut sumo deadlift. It's been several years since I pulled sumo in competition, and this time around it definitely went way better. This is a 595-pound opener, and needless to say, this thing flew. Real easy. Felt real good. Real good. But fatigue was starting to creep up at this point, so I knew I had to keep my energy high. Started having some candy, some sugar. Needed to bring the hype for this deadlift because I knew that my third, in order to hit my goal, was going to be a little bit of a long shot. But this is 628 pounds here, and it still moved pretty good. Alright, and here was the lift I was most excited about. This was not by any means a Hail Mary, but this is 300 kilos. I've been chasing this number for the entire year on both conventional and sumo. In training, I've failed this number twice conventional and twice sumo during my peak. So, watching this was also an attempt for an 800 kilo total. And I actually did manage to lock out 300 kilos, 661 pounds. Very, very happy with it. Even though I did end up getting red lights. I got 2-1 red lights. You can see this side angle here. I just want you guys to appreciate how close of a grind and a limit lift this was for me. Right here, right on the money. From the side angle, it looks like it could have gone either. Right, so I ran out of footage to keep talking over my competition, but continuing off of what I was saying before, that deadlift so close to getting it on technicality, but it wasn't the cleanest. So I understand why they red lighted me, and I'm just gonna have to get better next time. But I want to go in now to what was happening in the background, aside from the actual lifts going on. So me and my nutrition coach, we tried doing a water cut protocol this time, which is what we did not do last time at Nationals. And last time at Nationals, I was actually heavier cutting down. I was around 217 when I landed at nationals, which when I left I was 213. So it was a big what's going on moment for me. But this competition, I was only about 212 pounds when I landed. But this was a much harder cut for me because I actually was retaining a lot of water for whatever reason. By the day of the competition, I was 208 and I needed to be 205. I was like 208.8, I believe. So I had to go in the sauna and do about 4 or 5 rounds, which I haven't had to do before for competition. And I was feeling pretty good. But as the competition went on, the fatigue definitely started hitting me. And aside from that too, my peak didn't go very good, which isn't necessarily an indicator of how your performance in competition will go always. But at least at my level, it starts to become one, especially when you associate those other factors. I'm not going to blame travel. Travel is only 3-hour time difference in California from Hawaii. Not bad at all. But with my peak being a lot harder, it's because I took 300 kilos twice and I failed it. So the first time on my peak, I did 300 kilos and it looked like it was going up really quick, way quicker than in the competition video you just saw. But I fudged the lockout. It just came far away from me, and even though it flew up super fast, then there was no position I could grind from there because there's just too much of my own body mass in the way at that time, which I'll get to later as another reason why deadlifts could have gone a little bit better. But so because I missed it, just because I messed up the lockout and I knew I had the strength for it, I actually attempted it a second time with my coach's approval. He was there with me at the time, and I actually got it all the way up to just before lockout, and I lost grip, which has never happened before. So I still had to do back downs after that. I did 595 for a double, and then I believe I did somewhere around like 500 to 518 pounds for sets of 6, 2 sets of 6. And after that, the next training session for squats that I did, which was a secondary day, just felt hard. Like my legs, my quads get super fried from pulling sumo. So when I was squatting, it was all like kind of very hingy, which I am a little bit of a hingy squatter, but you generally see 2 squats from me. The kind that's a lot more upright and I'm braced, just perfectly stacked, can grind out with my legs, and then you see the kind where my hips shoot out and I good morning it up. And that's whenever my quads are too fatigued, or if my quads are just like really weak because I hadn't had a training variation within my program. And yeah, my hips just shot out. And on that same day too, I got cocky on bench press, which my whole prep, because I've been training 4 times a week bench frequency and PRing every single block, my shoulders were just super beat up. So it wasn't really the right time to do it anyways, but I was feeling good on the day. I smoked 418, so I attempted 441 pounds, and right off the chest, just missed it. So then right after that, I did 429, which is what I was supposed to do, and I hit it, but it was a really ugly grind. So right there, already fried myself a little bit too much. Even when my shoulders were already fried, I made it worse on the bench peak when it comes to that. But I will say, for the competition, I'm not going to blame it entirely on the bench peak because I still did taper pretty well. It's because I train on a pad that's a lot softer and thicker. It's a Rogue Fat pad, which gives you a massive edge on bench press, versus they used a Texas Strength Systems rack, which is like, to be honest, not the best material. I've heard it from other people, not just my own experience, and it's a lot thinner, so it did make the bench press more difficult. So that's something to note for if I compete on a TSS rack again, then I will have to take about 5 to 7.5 kilos off my best bench, and just try to pull something bigger or squat something bigger, which under normal circumstances wouldn't be a big deal for me. But going into my last lift that I peaked was my squat. I squatted, I believe it was either 661 or 672 pounds, but it was like an RPE 8, which for me is not normal. I've moved that before at an RPE 6, but my hips came out on that. I could barely do my back downs. I had to cut it on the back downs to be all 551 pounds and below, which for a peak for me on squat is normally not enough, but it was almost too much on the day. So my quads were just supremely fried, and even during the taper, I don't think that they recovered enough. So I think because I'm just still so new at pulling sumo, my body was not prepared for what I put it through. and then the fact that I pulled 661 pounds 3 separate times within a week and a half period, I feel like now I actually have a little bit of adductor pain because of it. It's manageable and it's going away, but I've just overreached the soft tissue capacity of my body. And going back to the meet, what happened for this happened both on my squats and deadlifts, but when I did my refeed, I had like a gallon and a half of water and a ton of food to try and get back up to as heavy as possible for my squats. And I weighed like 216 before going into squats after I had weighed in at like 204 or 203 point something previously, whatever 92.6 kilos is. And I think that's also what pushed me out of position because my stomach was too big against my legs. And this is just because, like, you know, I'm a shorter power lifter, and I'm relatively heavy for my frame. Like, I do have a good amount of body fat. I have a good amount of muscle mass too, for sure, but I'm definitely carrying more body fat than I need to right now, which is one of the reasons that it motivated me to move down to the 83s, which we're already on the journey to right now. I'm about 209 at this very moment. Planning by the end of this year, I should be sub 200, so the initial cut's going to be quite a bit, but we should see lots of improvements in my deadlift in particular from that reason. But when I'm too bloated, I can't brace properly against squat. I just take a half breath and I just go for it, and because my back is super strong, I can just grind through all that. But it's by no means optimal, and on top of that, you know, my legs not being recovered wasn't the best situation for squat, but I'm still super happy that I squatted 683 pounds. I believe this year in the US, that is one of the top 15 squats. It is, generally speaking, I do have one of the best squats in my class. But even though I wasn't able to hit my original plan, which was 315, 310, still a huge squat, 7.5 kilo PR, very happy. Still got a 7.5 kilo PR on bench press, also very happy with that. And that I was able to adjust despite things not going well. That's a skill in itself. And with sumo, super happy. I finally locked out 300 kilos. I know there's so much more room in the tank, but what I do want to say with that, this is the part where I give you the excuse, I was too bloated to get in my proper position. I was so much further away from the bar than I normally am, and just further in general than I need to be, just because I'm, you know, fatter for my weight class. I have a bigger waist size than when my deadlift leverages are optimal. My deadlift leverages have always been better when I'm sub 200 pounds. Especially that's becoming apparent with sumo, but there is just so much potential on this lift, and I'm so excited. I know that with my rate of progression, and only been pulling sumo for like 12-ish weeks, that when my leverages get better, and as I continue to grow in the lift and get better at tolerating the muscle damage to my body, then I will be able to pull so much more sumo. Like by nationals, you will see me pulling near 700 pounds, if not 700 pounds already, while being lighter, probably around 90 kilos, maybe 89 kilos, something like that. And even if my squat goes down, like right now, if I'm having the best day possible, guaranteed, if you guys have seen my 694 squat that I put on my Instagram, I do have 705 pounds on the squat. But if my squat just stays the same as this past meet, and I go for 683, feeling more recovered, and my deadlift goes up to that 700 mark, then I'm definitely going over 800 kilos, and it's going to be a fat total PR. So for nationals, it's only about 16 or 17 weeks out. I am not concerned with adding a ton of strength to my squat, or even a ton of strength to my bench. I'm just more concerned with getting down to a leaner, healthier, and more functional body weight for myself, and getting stronger on the deadlift as my leverages improve, which will be like not just getting stronger, but because the leverages go up, that'll be an extra 5 to 10 kilos, probably closer to 10 kilos that I can throw right on there. And if I take a more conservative squat, then I think at minimum I should be able to total around 815 to 820 kilos as a light 93 at nationals. And then from there we'll see what goes on. But just really looking forward to the changes that are going to happen. It's going to make me a much better lifter in the long run. And as I continue my journey to 83, there's going to be a lot of changes in my programming. I'll go ahead and talk about a few of those right now. This video is also doubling as a little bit of a vlog in a way, in case any of you are interested in my training. But what my coach Randall and I have decided to do is we are running a pure volume block, no top sets except for bench press, and we're doing this because it's we just need to give my body a break from lifting heavy loads all the time. I've been running singles for like the past 7 or 8 blocks, something crazy like that. So especially while I'm getting lighter, it's harder to maintain your top end strength. So what the best move is just lift something a little bit lighter than that for sets of 4. So the goals I have this block that we've talked about are 617 to 628 squat for a set of 4, which I think could go really, really well, better than expected, or it could go way worse than expected. We'll find out for a couple of reasons. But the reason I say it could go better than expected is because we finally added back in direct quad work. Your boy is doing leg extensions now, which I've never really trained a whole ton of. And we're also doing hack squat. And back when my squat was blowing up the most, when it went from 560 to 660 in like 6 months, it's because I was pushing the hell out of a belt squat and a leg press. Now, if I have direct quad variations again, then my squat always grows, because you guys have seen it. My back is super strong. My posterior chain is super strong. I can RDL more than most super heavy weights or most like heavyweight lifters. I have a 585 for 6 RDL. Posterior chain is not the weakness. It's my quads. And with my current programming, I don't get enough quad work just from squatting. I'm not a super upright squatter like that. So I think this is going to be a very big game changer. So at the very least, it should negate me from losing strength, but it could actually increase my strength level drastically. And especially if I get more comfortable with having smaller stomachs to be able to brace harder. So fingers crossed, 628 for 4 in soft sleeves would definitely mean we're going over 700 squat at nationals, which I've wanted to do. I really want to do, but I won't be upset if it doesn't happen. Deadlift. This one, guaranteed it's going to go well. I'm going for 595 to 606 for a set of 4. Never done that before, but if I can make that move, then we know that my tolerance has gone up, and I should be able to hit at least a very clean 661, maybe 672 next training block. And it'll just get better as my leverages do, so I'm excited about that. And we're also doing sets of 12 on the stiff leg, which I'm very excited about, because that's just pure hypertrophy for the posterior chain. Because for me, I can go very heavy on my current rep ranges, so you got to give me something high reps to fry the area and create new growth. And it's going to be good, because it's going to be really hard for me to do anything more than 200 kilos for a set of 12. I might not even be able to do that, especially after pulling like some heavy sumo. So just good to take off load, focus on hypertrophy. I'll make a video about that soon too, that you got to go back to basics a lot of the time. And accessories, they never stop being important, man. With my bench, big changes. No more 4 bench days a week. We're down to 3 days of bench a week, and we're just added, my 4th day is just dumbbell press. I added 1 set to my secondary day of normal bench set of 5, shouldn't be a big deal, and I added in direct chest work. So we're doing chest flies, and that's a big deal, because it's also something I've never really trained. Even when I was going for bodybuilding, I've always gotten my chest growth from just direct pressing work. And I don't know if you can tell from the side, I'm trying to flex my chest as hard as I can, but my arms are gigantic compared to my chest, is what I think. And I'm coming to the realization that, well, I guess it's not really too much realization. I just always wanted to have a more tricep-dominant bench because I thought it was cooler. But having a more chest-dominant bench press is way more loading potential. So I think that actually adding in these chest flies is going to help me increase my dumbbell press, which is going to help me increase my normal bench press. And for this block on bench, the goal is to hit anywhere between 418 up to 441 pounds. So if I feel good and I'm making a lot of progress, then we might see that 200 kilo bench press, especially with my shoulders starting to feel healthier, which will be really nice. But yeah, if not, then at least I'll hit something that's within my current strength capability. I think since I'll be using the Rogue pad, I should be able to do at least 429. I don't want to do 418. I'm probably going to do 418 as my last warm-up, and then if it feels good, I'll go for like 435, 440, and if it doesn't feel good, then I'll go for 429. But yeah, I'm really excited to be back to pushing those leg accessories. With leg extensions, really just trying to kill myself on those. There's not really a limit to how hard you can push leg extensions, in my opinion, other than just your pain tolerance. You can almost always do another rep. And then I'll be blowing up that hack squat, trying to get really strong on my quads, which will help all my lifts. Yeah, and those are the big changes going forward, and that's the recap of my meets. I do think that this upcoming Nationals in Lake Tahoe in March is going to be a lot better, a lot more technically proficient, because I'll be in a better body weight for maintaining leverages on all my lifts, and also I won't have to cut because I'll be in the middle of the weight class now. I'll be 90 kilos, not 93, so I could go to an all-you-can-eat buffet the night before and I could still compete. So this might be a breakout performance. We will see. But thanks for tuning in for those of you who did, and I'll be putting up some more videos soon.